I don't know if anyone else has experienced this, but I have experiences of like saying something more publicly or putting some poetry out that talks about somewhat deep things, and either family or a friend in a more tight community culture that I grew up in comes at me and is like, you can't say that, that's dangerous to say, or why are you sharing personal information about yourself to so many people? And the thing about it is, if I'm posting it publicly or to a broader audience, it's not personal information at that point. It is something that I see going on with a lot of people, or that could be going on collectively, or that other people are dealing with. And it might somehow resonate with them, because a lot of times what we see on social media is, the beautiful, just filtered, perfect things and the positive things that everybody is going through. And if you don't see the real things, which I post about or bring out in either art or poetry or just some things I say sometimes, then I think you can fall into like self-judgment a little bit too much. And so I post these like shadow work type of things so people, even if it's not something I'm going through personally, I see someone else going through it and then I write about it. Or if I am going through it personally, if I think other people go through it, I think we should be vulnerable and talk about things and put them out in the open. Because if you want them to actually change from the inside out to become something more functional and better, then you have to at least shine a light on it and see that it's there before you can fix it. And so, yeah, I think it is opening up to putting myself into a vulnerable position sometimes, but I'm honestly not straightforward enough about my own personal stuff going on that I'm really still not putting myself in very vulnerable positions, but I'm seeing patterns among the collective, or among, sometimes not like the whole collective, but a subgroup of a culture that I grew up in. And for people to question some of the things within that would be definitely a very good thing. Aside from the fact that I believe if somebody is going through something very personal and then they do post it or like share about it in some form, it can be really healing. Not always, but it can be. I just think we should work to let people be more open and vulnerable and listen to them, instead of being so afraid to say or share anything. And I think the world would be a little bit better off for that, honestly. I do understand that, especially in like workplaces, or some workplaces, or like sometimes like a filter is important, because what you do have is a lot of people with differing values, and so you'll be judged wrongfully when people don't understand the full circumstance of the situation. So if you get really specific about your vulnerability, that's where you really do open up to judgment a lot, because then you are, and the fact that you're being specific, it doesn't actually address the situation as a whole still, and everything you've gone through to get to that specific event. So it's awkwardly and strangely less truth to say something really specific about a personal situation that you're going through than it is to say it sometimes in a more overarching, artistic, poetic form that addresses the fact of everything affecting everything, even though you're being so much less direct about it. But sometimes there's more truthfulness and less directness, and you can get to the root of things further than if you're kind of just, because it's kind of like being really specific is kind of like picking at your skin at like one scab that keeps coming up, instead of trying to like address other issues of why you would have this like scab or acne on your skin, instead of cleansing it, or instead of hydrating more, instead of figuring out the hormonal problem involved in it. So that's just a little analogy. So I'm like, if you do open up and be vulnerable, it's actually more truthful to be a little non-specific about it, and applies to the collective more fully, to where people can then go and do something about it. And it seems paradoxical, because you would think that a very specific personal situation and then sharing that would be the thing that would like tell the most truth, but it doesn't. It's just like the smallest, tiniest piece of the puzzle that doesn't really mean that much. It's just a sign of something way bigger that's going on, that's more, what should I call it? That's more nuanced, because everything is more nuanced. Life is not cut and dry one way or another, like people want it to be. So people want to hear the specific stories. They want to hear the drama. They want to hear this way that this one person was treated unjustly, and narrow it down to the big event that happened that was so crazy and newsworthy. But we're bombarded with that every day. It's time to get nuanced. It's time to get to the root of things. It's time to get into the overarching collective subconscious ways that things are leading to other things in a really non-specific way, because it's actually more truthful, and it's something you can do something more about, more long-term, in like a generational way, instead of just like now. And I'm all for now too, but like not like that impatient rush now that doesn't fix anything and like skews chaos in its path. I'm all for the now of being present, and being present includes feeling the past and the future so deeply, and it's an energy flow and an understanding that you're part of everything in a collective, and that is truth. Truth is everywhere. Truth isn't here now in a specific event. That one specific event can point to truths that are going on, but the truth is constantly flowing, and the now is constantly flowing. And people will get a little hurt sometimes if you share something and you're not sharing it with them specifically, because they sometimes want your energy. They want to be the one who's there for you, but no one person has the capacity to totally be there for another person. We're all there for each other in so many different ways and circumstances. And so some people will try to control that and bridle that and say, don't say this, don't say that, when you should say more, say more, say more, say more.